We had a crash, and now we need some additional driver training. Hey, this is Billy Goldfeder answering some of your questions as part of What's Your Problem series, hosted by FireRescue1.com and Lexipol. And here's today's question. I recently viewed your video about the importance of driver operations in intersections and stopping. We had an incident recently at our department involved a crash with a citizen's vehicle while responding to a car fire. We have an active investigation underway. It looks like our apparatus was at fault for not properly clearing the intersection. We do have driver training policies and that are pretty thorough, EVOC, license, Class B testing, things. But I'd like your thoughts on continuing education for drivers and maybe the officer and the importance of safe driving. And do you have any suggestions as far as the best practice in creating lessons learned from incidents like this? I'm the assistant safety officer. I've been in the fire department for 16 years, and this is our first incident. We want to make sure we do it right. All right, so I'll kind of break it down and answer each of these points. You could cry and scream all day long that we're allowed to run through red lights, we're allowed to run through stop signs. Yeah, you're allowed to maybe, but you're not allowed to hit anybody. And the only way to do that is to be absolutely sure the intersection's clear. The only way to absolutely be sure is to stop, check, and then respond through. So I've been spending decades not arguing with people because they're wrong and I'm right. The fact is you got to stop, and I'm not being arrogant. I'm just telling you. Every day we're seeing apparatus crashes. There's at least a dozen firefighters in litigation right now, as of last count, like 3 days ago, in dealing with incidents like this. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. You blow the intersection, and the city may or may not support you. In other words, if the law or the policy says stop at all red lights and then make sure it's clear, and you don't, the city can let you go. And again, I'm being very broad here. Everybody's a little different, but the potential is the city lets you go, says, hey, you know what? You're on your own. You violated policy. You caused harm. You killed somebody. We want nothing to do with you. You're out of here. Sue us if you don't like it. We're going to settle with the family, and then the family can sue you civilly. You don't want to be in that situation. Look, I want to get to fires as quickly as anybody else, but you got to stop. You got to slow down, and all the things we've talked about many, many times here in this program. So stop. And also, it's a car fire, okay? Oh, somebody can be trapped. Yes, I understand that. But if you crash, you're not going to get there to get those people out. All right, so just use some common sense. Make lots of noise, have lots of bright lights. Make sure they see you coming. Make sure they hear you coming. But stop when you have to stop. God forbid you run into a civilian's vehicle and it's a member of your family in that vehicle. That happened to a department in Ohio north of us where the driver of the apparatus actually killed one of her relatives. It's nothing any of you ever want to go through. As far as your driver training policies and things like that, that's great. Are they being enforced? Or your policies here, but your reality's over there. You got to make sure your policies and the way you operate daily are in sync. Otherwise, get rid of the policies. Why do you have them if they're not being enforced? And the last thing you need is some lawyer to say, are these your policies? Yes. When did you last look at them? 1963. Anybody ever review them with you? No. You're screwed, right? So continuing education for drivers. Yeah, I think, you know what? Of course there has to be continuing education. We require our drivers annually to go back through the EVOC course. They're reviewed. They have to do pump testing, things like that. If it's a pump apparatus with a pump, aerial, whatever the case may be. Why wouldn't you? I mean, whether it's driving or EMT-ing or paramedic-ing or chief-ing or whatever it is you do, there should be regular continuing education. In my organization and many of the ones we operate mutual aid with, every quarter I have to go down to our burn building and I do what I do at fires, and that's take a command roll. While the troops are stretching line, they're throwing ladders, I'm going through my continuing education. Plus we get annual testing, online stuff and all that. Yeah, to be a chief in our area, you got to keep up with it. And I get it. I agree with it. I'm a big proponent of it. It's critical. So back to your apparatus driving, though. So if chiefs should be requalified, if EMT should be requalified, continuing education, whatever you call it, why wouldn't you want your driver to? And we're not talking about a whole lot of time. If you're a shift firefighter, one shift a quarter, we're going to go out and we're going to put you through some paces. What's wrong with that, right? That's what I think we need to be doing. So as far as creating lessons learned from incidents like this, go to firefighterclosecalls.com. It's packed with lessons learned and stories about apparatus incidents. You can go to firerescue1.com. I write a column every month in Firehouse magazine called Close Calls, and we talk about apparatus incidents. And all the other journals and periodicals out there have information. So also be sure to check out the website Responder Safety. They're all about protecting you on the highways. So as far as putting together a database or lessons learned, it's all out there. And you can email me. I'll send you some stuff to help that get started. But bottom line, slow down, stop at red lights, stop at stop signs, put your seatbelt on, don't drive drunk. It's so simple, but yet we still have trouble with this. Email me at FireRescue1 with any questions you have. I promise you I'll do my best to give you, well, you'll always get my opinion, but I'll also try and get you some facts in there as well. Thanks so much and take care.